Hey guys, you've heard the phrase, you do you be you. But what does that actually mean? And how the heck do you actually find you in this ever changing, busy world? From a dream of a TED Talk to a retirement calculator and becoming a new parent, I dropped the one key I found to unlocking a connection back to the person who you really are. About a year ago, I had this dream that I was on a TEDx stage giving the speech. I can recall so vividly, like waking up with my heart racing, sprinting out of bed to rush down the stairs, get in front of the laptop, and just type faster than I ever had before so that I could document everything I could remember. Still, to this day, I am convinced that I will give that speech one day. And maybe it's from a well known stage, or maybe it's just to a friend who needs it most during a back patio and cocktail kind of conversation. Today, my friend, is not that day. But in today's episode, I do want to share just the heart of that same message, which is that authenticity thrives in vulnerability, and you are absolutely more connected to your true self than you may think you are. So, in a past episode, I shared a motto. It's the three R's, and it's just these you can use these three R's to passionately pivot your life. And those three R's are reconnect, redefine, and realign. And so much of that method lies in our ability to reconnect with our true selves. But, like, how the heck do you even do that? And what does that even actually mean? I recall a time in my life right after becoming a mother for the first time, and I literally felt like I could barely remember my own name, much less like who I actually was. I remember sitting on a couch in our living room, just holding my new baby, just like with this stoic stare, just looking out a window, and there was almost nothing, like numbness. And I'm sure for as much as we could say that maybe this was pure exhaustion from months of living off of the famous 4 hours of sleep, or maybe even a little postpartum, but either way, there was like this stirring and this questioning. Something else was at play, and I had to figure it out. And it was definitely, I think part of what was happening was like this grieving of an old identity and the obvious awakening of a new one. And anytime you're going through that kind of process, that's tough work. I remember sitting on that couch asking myself, am I? And there was nothing. Who am I? There's nothing. And then all of a sudden, I kind of noticed that this different thought pattern started to interrupt. And it was this question of, well, who have you been? And right there, that's when I found the key to unlocking a connection back to what I absolutely believe everyone refers to when they're talking about like my true self or my authentic self. And so in that moment, I started thinking about some of the most pivotal moments in my life. Who have I been? In those moments of like trauma or adolescent hardships or parental divorce, falling in love, heartbreak, job changes, moving, motherhood, grieving the loss of a loved one, like really thinking about to those moments and that I think even two moments that people say that that define them. I started noticing this pattern that as I was replaying these moments, these were the moments where I felt so raw, exposed, weak, lost, or maybe even sometimes it was absolutely worn down. And that in these moments, this is where I also got to see glimpses of the person who I was at my core, like who I was made to be in my rawest, rarest, pure form. I saw a child learn the power of one voice. I saw a little girl hold steady during a storm and prove that this too shall pass. I saw a confused teenager take a bold stance. I saw a young adult find her foundation in grace. I saw a woman finding her compassion through the eyes of being a new mother. And that person, the person I was in those moments, I'd always been there with those qualities and with those strengths and with the same like divinely orchestrated purpose. Carl Jung, he was the psychologist who founded and developed the concepts of extroverted and introverted personality in the collective unconscious. So he's got a famous quote that says, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Ah, it said so perfectly. Life and its busyness or the strains of everyone else's expectations or trying to fall in line with what everyone else tells you you're supposed to do or who you're supposed to be. Like it echoes so loudly, like a rock in a freaking tin can, just around all of those pieces that we actually know to be true. And before we know it, we can even hear the essence of, like, we can't even hear the essence of our true, authentic self. Unless, and here's the unjuggle, right? We get really intentional about it. So there's a reason that there is this desperate interest in things like meditation in today's culture, where we're just desperate to know ourselves again. Like we're longing to find a moment of peace so that we can reconnect back to what it is we're actually created for. Because I darn well know that I'm not the only person who has had the thought of like, this can't be it. We can't possibly exist just to wake up, eat, work, sleep, repeat, working our lives away so that maybe one day we can enjoy our last few years on the planet. Oh, I literally spoke with someone the other day that told me they have a countdown. Okay, wait for this. They have a countdown on their phone for their retirement. And they were like boasting. They were like, only 2,185 days left before retirement. Forget living to just make it to Friday for gosh sake. Like this person literally had already written off the next almost 6 years of their life because, as they were putting it to me, one day when I get to retirement, I can take up that hobby again. Like, I don't know, I actually felt like that was worse than not knowing yourself at all. Like, this person knew that once upon a time their hobby and they were really passionate about this thing we were talking about, and they knew exactly where they wanted to be living their life and how they'd be spending their days, and the only action they were willing to take to live out that vision for their life was to put a dang timer on their phone. Like, guys, I say this so lovingly, like I can't. Those are the moments that are so triggering for me because it simply just does not have to be that way. Like we were meant to be the best versions of ourselves today, here, like to use our gifts for our greater purpose now, not put some stinking calculator on our phone. And at that point in time, maybe then one day we can start living our lives. And that starts with, I know, going back to actually being willing, like what is it that we want today, and what would make our souls happy, and that true like deep down sense of fulfillment. And for me, again, it absolutely started on that couch as a new mom. It came down to a choice. Was I willing to get to know myself again, like my true self, and to live from a place of authenticity that was aligned with that greater purpose and a life of significance? Or would I allow the noise and the numbness and the busyness to continue to blanket that flicker that I knew was inside? I literally asked myself that question. And if you've spent more than 5 minutes with me, I believe you know exactly what choice I made. It's also something that I constantly ask myself just to ensure that I'm living from a place where I get to define what success looks like and that I'm aligning my daily actions to that. And it is that easy and that simple. And you also have the same choice on the table at any time in your life. I firmly believe that. And I think it just goes back to allowing those raw and those real and those vulnerable moments to shine light on who you're capable of being, and know that that person and that person didn't just have to show up in the pivotal moments, but that person could be the person who shows up every single day. I love that. Like you're building every single day we wake up and we get to build our one wild and precious life. And how amazing is it that everything we need is already inside us? I think this message today was probably for the person who knows something like a spark, like something's just missing in their life. And my friend, I would say start by looking inward. Start by reflecting on the person who you have been in those pivotal moments. And heck, maybe even write it down. Like what a gift that could be for yourself. Because I bet you would see someone who is so full of life again, like a version of you that was deeply connected to your loved ones, a strong and resilient and capable person, like full of laughter and passion and just a lightness, like maybe even someone who is so strong and courageous and someone that I bet you could be really, really proud of. So I hope you enjoyed today's little chat. I know it was a little bit different than the usual unjungle ramble, but hey, like you listened up to this point, which means you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that the best gift you could give yourself today would be just to take even 5 minutes or before you skip on to your next podcast to simply just acknowledge the person that you have been. Your life is full of ups and downs, and you've got so much more life to thrive in, not just survive. So, no retirement calculators for you, okay? I sure as hell will never have a retirement calculator on my phone. So, I'm proud of you, and I'm always cheering you on. Until next time. Actually, wait, one last thing before you go. So, hey, if any of this landed with you today and you want to see how you could apply this personally in your life, actually, I've got some really exciting news. So, inspired by the Unjuggle the Struggle podcast, it's official. The coaching programs are open and accepting new clients now. So, I would be honored to be the coach in your corner to get you from where you are now to cashing in that freedom ticket for more peace and joy and purpose in your life. And if you are interested in hearing more, be sure to check out BrittanyTalenci.com and book a call today. And okay, for real now. Until next time, bye.